9-1 day 2, pre-lesson. Couple things I want to jump out at you. First of all, really if I had to title this, it'd be Moving the Vertex. You guys have been doing them all where the vertex is 0, 0. Now they're going to add some secret sauce to this, so be prepared. Let's get our mindset here. Remember, y equals ax squared, x equals ay squared. You have to realize a always connected to the squared part of the parabolic equation, the quadratic, okay? That's rule number 1. Now, we're going to move the vertex. Don't panic, you've been doing this a lot. So here's my parent function right there. So I will grab this wonderful red marker, hope it works. I'm going to take care of this and this first. This is right 2, up 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to make it dotted. So all we did was move that black one right 2, up 4. Dotted because we're not done. Not done because of that. Remember, if A is a whole number like a 2, that's a vertical stretch, which is going to make it skinnier. My final drawing might be something like that, a little skinnier than this. So that's what it is going to look like in order for us to look at it and be able to read it. Now what this section is going to do, we're going to scramble this up so you can't see it, so that you have some work to do to get it to here, so then you can understand where to move it, how wide, narrow. So get ready. Here we go. So they scrambled it up. You definitely cannot look at that and go, I see what it is. That's like this, and I got to move it here. So this is just like a word scramble, but it's math. Now don't be intimidated by this. These are your two general equations for parabolas where the vertex is moved. So that's going to move it, and that's going to move it. That's going to move it, that's going to move it. Notice the A is connected to the squared stuff. The A is connected to the squared stuff. It's what we just talked about. It just looks hard because there's all these letters. So let's talk about something that jumps out at us. See the Y and the X? Those are alone. So what you're going to do is look for the loner. When I say that, I mean the not squared thing. So we look at this, we're like, hey, there it is. So that tells us to isolate it. In this case, it's an X. Next problem, it might be a Y. It's going to be one of the two, because it's either Y equals some crazy stuff or X equals some crazy stuff. So let's take care of step 1. So here we go. Next thing, it's also positive. See, it's positive X equals stuff, positive Y equals stuff. And seeing this is already positive, I want to leave it alone. I'm going to subtract 14, add 8y, subtract y squared. But then I have to do it for this side. So I'll show my work. And there's my line. Smash it all. So, and I'm going to flip it too, because I want x. So this cancel, cancel, cancel. So it's x equals. So I'm just trying to make it look like this now. And here we go. Negative y squared plus 8y minus 14. Okay. First trimester, we worked very hard at completing the square. You've done this before. It's just been a while. Let's go over these rules. So, for completing the square, I'll write this in purple. So, complete the square. Now, why do we want to do that? Because it's going to give us a binomial squared, and then we'll be able to tell, oh, it moved it right, or moved it left, or moved it up, or moved it down. So with that in mind, what are the rules? Rule number 1, get a marker that works good. 1. Okay, we got to make sure the coefficient of the squared term is a 1. It can't be anything but a 1. So we look at the squared term and we're like, uh-oh, it's a negative 1. I know what you're thinking. Multiply everything by a negative 1. Well, that would defeat this and this. We don't want negative x equals stuff, so we can't use that. This is where it gets a little tricky with the thing square. Our trinomial is going to come from here. This is the constant that we're going to kick to the curve. So that will be number 2. Kick constant over. Another dead marker. So, like, okay. And then remember, this is going to be our trinomial. Well, there's only 2 things, exactly. So x equals now. If this has to be a positive 1, I'm going to factor a negative 1 out of there. I gotta force my will on it, but I'm going to factor a negative 1 out of everything in here. I'm going to create a space. Now, the 14 got kicked over, and now I'm going to create another space. This is going to be a balancing act. If I add something here, I got to do the opposite here, and that's going to have a little twist to it. Well, now we got to take half of what I call the middle coefficient, and then you got to remember to square it. Well, this is the middle coefficient. Let's follow the rules. Take half of that. That's negative 4. I got to square it. Negative 4 squared is 16. Now, know what you're going to do. You're going to put a negative 16 right there without thinking. That 16 was not there originally. That negative 1 now hits it. So when you put a positive 16 right there, the negative 1 hits it. So you really put a negative 16 here. So you got to put a positive 16 over there. That's tricky. Be careful. So now I'm going to clean this up. X equals negative 1. There's my perfect square trinomial. Factors into y minus 4 squared plus 2. All right, what do we do with that? Well, now they're going to ask us, let me make sure I know what they even ask for. So they're going to ask us for everything. Vertex, focus, directrix. Well, we got to get a picture. Hope I have space here. This is even different. So first of all, this is an x equals y squared kind. So x equals ay squared, we know it's going to go like that, or it's going to go like this. Now I want you to notice something. My a is negative. You know what that means? It's going to be this, not that. Let's find the vertex. This is going to be different, okay? You guys have been brainwashed with stuff where y equals, I'll just make it up, 1 times x minus 2 squared plus 1. So we would move 2 to the right. Well, that's because we got an x in here. So here, what would that do? Well, y minus 4 makes you think down. It does the opposite. So that's going to go up 4, and this is going to go right 2. See, this is our d, and that's going to go right 2. That's connected to the x. This is obviously, I hope, connected to the y. So 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. And give me a second. I'm going to rearrange this so we have room. Now we're ready. So there's my vertex. 2 to the right, 4 up. Okay, focus and directrix. Remember, we have to find the letter C. What's the only formula we know that involves C? A equals 1 over 4C. Now what's A? Well, that's right here. So watch this. This is negative 1 equals 1 over 4C. Now, different people will solve this differently. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this really simple principle. I'm going to show it to you and then erase it. 2/3 equals 4/6. Now, you guys probably haven't seen this in forever. Maybe you've never been taught it. But if 2 fractions are equal, look at these 2 fractions are equal, then so are their cross products. So 3 times 4 equals 2 times 6. And I'm going to piggyback that. I'm going to go here. I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to cross multiply. 1 times 1 is 1. 4c times negative 1 is negative 4c. Divide by negative 4, divide by negative 4, and I get c is negative 1/4. But wait a minute, a very strange thing happens in this particular instance. C is a distance. Can't be negative. So it's the first time in math, it's like, wait, it gave me a negative. It's not negative? No. But if I know it's like this and my vertex is there, I know my directrix is going to be this way. I know my focus is going to be that way. So I only move 1/4 of a unit from here. So if this is 3, I go to 2.25 or 2 1/4, and there's my soil. And it's x equals 2.25 or 2 1/4, however you want to look at it. But then where's the focus? The focus would be 1/4 of a unit in. So where is that? Well, if this point is actually 2, 4, and I have to move to the left of that 1/4, that would actually be 1.75, 4. And then my parabola would be like this. And there you have it. It's a lot of work. I'm not putting anything else on the pre-lesson. If this example problem kind of threw you, that's why I do the example problem video next. Make sure to take a look at it. Every problem's a little different. So that's difficult on top of the difficulty. So watch those example problems.